So, Malcolm X, 50 years on, what is the legacy? For us in London, I think it's still unclear because in 1965 you had Africans being lynched in America. In 2015, we still have Africans being killed in cold blood by police officers in uniform globally, and lawmakers are still refusing to find them guilty of any wrongdoing. In Malcolm's 1964 speech, The Ballot or the Bullet, he explains that Africans in America have the decisive vote in marginal states, but they still get nothing from the democratic process. In 2013, a report by Operation Black Vote in the UK highlights that for a third of the parliamentary seats in England and Wales, the BME vote has the power to be decisive. However, race continues to be off the agenda. In 2015, do we live in a truly post-racial society or just politically correct? Earlier this week in Paris, English football fans racially abused an African on the subway. This made headlines nationally. However, very few headlines are generated by any mainstream publication about the fact that black people still finish last in the majority of socioeconomic indicators. Looking at housing, education, health, and employment, as well as incarceration rates, our position is no better off than we were in 1965. In fact, perhaps we were better off in 1965 because at least people understood that they were oppressed and they mobilized. This day of action and the international programs coordinated by ENPAD are part of the wake-up call that must take place. The Stop petition is another way of engaging our communities in these issues. In a recent documentary called 7 AM, Dr. Claude Anderson outlined what he feels we need as a race, which are real communities. And in that, he talks about an economic base where we can trade with each other internationally. He talks about a code of conduct based on self-love and unity. And he says only then can we have politicians who are accountable and responsive to our needs. In the Ballot or the Bullet speech, Malcolm said, "No, I'm not an American. I'm one of the 22 million black people who are the victims of Americanism." I would suggest that for us as Africans in Europe, we must refuse to remain victims, and we must collectively roll up our sleeves for the hard work we must do to survive.